Welcome to New Europe Studio here in Brussels. Today we will talk about Italy, and we have here Ambassador Alfredo Bastianelli, Ambassador of Italy in Belgium. Welcome, Ambassador.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
We are going to speak about this year in which you were Ambassador, and then now we will do, let's say, a summary of your activity of this important year that you lived here in Belgium.
Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon to you all. Yes, it has been a little bit more than 1 year since I arrived, and in a way it's been a return since I have been posted in Brussels, but at a permanent representation in 1994. So 20 years later, I'm back in this magnificent place. Wonderful capital, wonderful country, very interesting. Well, now, balance of 1 year. The first figure I would like to give you, since it has been a particular nice surprise for me, is that the year that we have just concluded saw a raise in our bilateral trade and an increase of our export to Brussels, to Belgium, of 15%. This is quite an interesting result, since it is the highest increase in export we had in Italy abroad, and it is the highest increase Belgium had in their imports. So it's quite an achievement. That wants to point out the strength of the relations between our two countries. Of course, traditionally, one thinks to the miners that soon after the Second World War came in Brussels, in Belgium, to look for a better life. After so many years, I would say the Italians found a better life, but also Belgium find through the Italians a better economical strength. And maybe part of the results I just mentioned are due to those Italians and to the relations that they had established in Belgium. But of course, 1 year is not only economy. 1 year is many things. 1 year is the pleasure of contacts, and many of them with actually another Italian or a Belgian Italian, that is the Prime Minister. Prime Minister Di Rupo is a sort of emblem of what the Italians have achieved, and the Premier showed how, through his patience and his ability, things can be done. I would say that is a particular good example also for many other politicians. Saying that, I would like to quote something that Prime Minister Di Rupo is used to say, and just recently pointed out many times, just to give you an example of the potentiality of the relations between our two countries. We are in an European framework, and the European Union has, of course, 4 major players, as far at least as a matter of size. And amongst those 4 players, France and Germany represents a traditional partnership that in the past was very important to preserve peace and stability, and now have also important tasks in the economical fields. Then we have a third member, that is United Kingdom. But United Kingdom are, of course, without any any judgment, has a peculiar approach toward the European Union. Sometimes you don't know where they stand, and actually the fact that there is in the air a referendum let us think that we know where they stand. But anyhow, remains the fourth. The fourth is Italy. The fourth is Italy, that is a great player in the European scene, is a founding member of the European Union, and President Di Rupo says all the time, Italy is a strategical partner for Belgium, because Belgium and Italy both can achieve a lot. So just to give you another reason of importance. Now, as far as I'm personally concerned, of course, my major activity here is in promoting Italy. I would say is an easy task, not only because of the Italians I mentioned, but I would say Belgium is a country, a particular country. Half of the government speaks Italian. Ah, yes.
Half of the government?
Yes, sort of, maybe not half, but a lot. And sometimes a very good Italian. Let's start with the Prime Minister, but the Prime Minister is Italian. But the other half goes on holiday in Italy. So I doubt that there is any other country in the world where Italy is so well known by the ruling class. Many Belgians are married to Italians. Let's start with the king, and the present king is half Italian. So in a way, is to promote Italy is easier, but as well as very difficult, because sometimes they know much better than I do. I remember I spoke with former Prime Minister Verhofstadt once for lunch, and he was giving me addresses in Italy where to buy things. And this is quite, in a way, embarrassing, being the Italian ambassador. Or we were discussing about Italian wines, but then he told me that he produces wines in Italy. So you understand that is a rewarding experience, but sometimes a little bit hard.
This link is amazing in a way, because
but not surprising.
In another countries you never see so strong.
No, I wouldn't say, even though relations between Italy and other countries are, as far as I experienced, are particularly good. You may sometimes they don't like someone in Italy, but I would say that most of the time they like Italy. In my previous experience, I was ambassador to Cyprus. I mean, Italians there have been, at the time of the Rome, we should start first with the Greek immigration in the 8th centuries before Christ. And both the same immigrant from Greece went, someone to Cyprus, someone to the south of Italy. So in a way they were cousins in Italy and in the south of Italy. Then finally, I'm Roman, so I'm particularly proud of it, we had the Romans that ruled in Cyprus for over 300 years. And then they arrived all, I mean, you know, the Crusaders and other things, and the Italians were, of course, there. Even St. Francis went to Cyprus. And then they arrived the Venetians, and then Caterina Cornaro, and then again Venetians. So in a way, I mean, our country that for 1,000 years had the Italians, in a way, and even in Cyprus, there are many words in the Cyprus dialect that are from Italy. Before, I was ambassador to Angola. Relations between Italy and Angola are not just the relations that you can imagine of the last couple of 20 years, 50 years. No, in the 15th century, Angolans were writing letters to Rome, of course at the time Rome, the Papal Rome, and in Rome they published the first book on Angola in 1591. So relations in a way, and the Italians are known. We are an old country. We are a country that in a way, as I said, most of the time is loved. And then it's a very beautiful country, believe me.
No. Obviously, this experience Europe, you were already in the permanent representation, so you know very well Brussels. Yeah. How do you feel? We were talking about very interesting conversation we had before about this nouvelle vague of anti-Europeism. I was very interested about your comment about this because we have now the European elections, and we see that in some countries like France, Holland, okay, UK is already quite skeptical, but we have this
yes,
situation.
Let me start from the end. Yes, there might be for the first time an important number of member of parliaments that are not 100% in line with the European construction. It's true. But we have always to remember that the great majority of the parliament, in any case, will be European, made by Europeans for Europe. So let's be clear, there is a danger that for the first time there will be some Aeroskeptics, a huge amount, but the great majority will not. So that is the first thing that we have to consider. Now, as far as Aeroskepticism, yes, it's true. You can read everywhere in any newspaper. There is a protest. There are discussions, but maybe it's important to define who is Aeroskeptic, because there are for sure Aeroskeptics as matter of philosophy, as principle. Is an opinion, why not? They may consider that the construction of Europe is not what they need, what the people need. It's an opinion. But then there are others, I would say, and my impression is that at the moment they are the majority. You can see in our two countries, in Belgium and in Italy, two founding members, until very recently, the fidelity, the appreciation, the love, I would say, toward European institutions was a sort of must. Now is put in discussions. Is put. Why? Is it because they are Eurosceptics, or because maybe they are disillusioned, or maybe because there is not enough Europe for them? Maybe some of the Eurosceptics, and maybe in my opinion, in my country, the great majority, is not because they are against the European constructions, but because they don't see the European construction as they guess, as they would like, as maybe could be done. So I wonder whether the answer will be more Europe instead of less Europe to fight against the Euroscepticism.
Let's go back again to Italy. Thank you for this comment. It's always interesting, and we push a lot on this topic. Let's go back a little bit to Italy and to what we call in Italian Sistema Italia. And what do you think are the potentiality of all these actors in Brussels? Because in Brussels we have Italian region, we have Confindustria, we have entrepreneur, we have the banks, we have a huge amount of people and potentiality that probably is not fully expressed.
No, that is for sure. But I would say there are different grounds. When you point out the Italian Sistema Italia, well, sometimes I might have some questions also, because everybody speaks about it, but where it is, maybe not all of us we know. It's like the Arab Phoenix. But having said that, you expressed your specific point over Brussels. Well, I would say in Brussels, maybe, of course, may be improved, but it works in a decent way. There are, I would say, the permanent representation and the embassy of Italy first of all, there is a great harmony. That is quite important. There is a great harmony between the permanent representation and the bilateral embassy. Most of the time, because the ambassador there and myself, we are very good friends, and we were together in the permanent representation 20 years ago. So in a way, I know how ridiculous may be the ambassador, the bilateral ambassador, wishing to do something without consulting, and my colleague at the representation knows very well that there are some sensibility that must be cared of. Having said that, perfect harmony existing between our two buildings facilitates a lot everything. The other player, of course, as you pointed out, everything can be improved. Sometimes I wonder, and I consider that all the regions that are represented here can be a little bit closer, both to my embassy or to the permanent representation, considering that if Campania or if Molise or if Lombardia have a success, is a success for all of us. I would say that it is done. We have meetings, constructive meetings sometimes, no, most of the times. I'm afraid that a little lack of creating a system is a sort of heritage that will be difficult. It will be difficult to overcome in the next years. Don't forget that we are the country of the township, and in the sometimes they are still repeating, and even in Italy sometimes they lack of doing system. But compared to 20 years ago when I was here, there is a tremendous improvement, and so there are possibilities that are fulfilled now, that are used now, and better possibilities that can be and should be used for the future. Also because without joining our strengths will be difficult to counter in Europe and to counter in the world.
And very fast question, very quick question about the next Italian presidency. Some ideas how do you feel with this important engagement Italy will have to face?
Well, this will be my second presidency in Brussels. The first was in '96. When I was here in 1996, and I followed from the permanent representation, so I was chairing groups. It was a very exciting moment. Now I will accompany from a higher position, but in a way a little bit more in a side. As you pointed out, making sistema means also not to invade other fields. The presidency is more a task of the permanent representation. So, of course, we are under their leadership that is in a way a pleasant leading. They are pleasant leading. General points. Presidency is a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity for Italy. It's a great opportunity for the new government. But the major goals, I would say, are, regardless the government, are goals for Italy: growth and economical correctness. Growth cannot be avoided, but at the same time the financial aspects must be respected. But at the same time, financial aspects alone, rigor, austerity, we saw is not the remedy. Austerity without growth means nothing. So the two words compenetrate growth, keeping in mind the necessity of a certain vigilance on the balances is one of the major tasks. How? Giving new strength to the European industry, for instance. You have to consider that the industrial sector is the one that creates jobs, and without creating jobs, difficult to find a solution. So I would say growth, rigor, attention in the financial sector through a development of the industrial system would be a priority. I would say not only of this government, a priority for Italy, but I suspect a priority for Europe.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have you here at New Europe Studio in Brussels, Place Jourdain, where you can come here, eat, drink, and watch us make the news.